Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
This is Narnia calling. Narnia calling Captain Corridor. Are you receiving me?
Now, do you know something? I had the same greeting in my mind. I was going to be coming from the corridor to Narnia, receiving you loud and clear.
Brilliant, Matt. It's lovely to see you. How are you?
And you, buddy. How you diddling? You all right?
All good, all good. Busy, but coping, and I'm done. As you know, I'm heading back home. This is me poured out. So
brilliant stuff. Well, I'm just as I tuck in, you tuck out.
Yeah, well, that's but less about the tucking in than tucking.
Yeah, not saying that.
Oh, we're seconds in, and we've already dropped to that level. I mean,
yeah. Well, look. Before we go any further, I mean, let's just do this bit, and then we'll be all right after that.
Yeah, as long as we get the beer in, mate. No one else cares. They've got.
I'm only here for that. Yeah. Cheers, matey. Cheers.
And cheers, everyone at home joining. So
absolutely.
So I'd say, what have you been up to? It's not really what have you been up to, but more how's it been going?
It's going very well. Yeah, we will go to the boxing. We'll actually see the ring that we're working in tomorrow. So we're going to the theatre workshop, and we will see the ring that will be sunk into the studio.
Oh wow!
We'll get a chance to actually step into the ring and start working, and the boys boxing and me coaching them. So it's going to be a good fun.
What a way to start your third week it'll be, won't it? When you do that?
So I set my second week. So it's middle of my second week.
Just finished second week. I mean, you're starting.
Yeah, just second. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Just mid. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I've lost time a little bit.
Mate, I think that's just age. I think you every time you dye your hair, I think it kills a few brain cells, and we know you.
Do you know what it is? It's the early mornings. That's what it is, Sam. It's the early mornings and wandering into it's a shock of working. That's what it is.
Well, yeah. We've had a couple of years of sitting at home and just doing Zoom. I mean, what is this work stuff we're having to do now?
I know. I tell you what is the other thing is if anybody thinks that actors have a glamorous lifestyle, I start the day every day with 30 minutes of boxing conditioning warm up. Wow. I'm a shadow of my former self.
Oh, they've got you all involved.
Everyone warms up. It's ridiculous.
Wow. Do you know what my warm up is?
Don't. If it's a cup of coffee, I'll kill you.
Well, if it was a cup of coffee, it wouldn't do me too good either. Because
it wouldn't. No, that's true.
So my first priority, other than driving and picking up other members, was getting in, signing into the schools, and doing whatever you have to do, get your pass and that, and then setting up a projector. Yeah, hard life, mate. That was all I had to do.
That's annoying.
but right up my street, as you can imagine.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, Mr. Technical gets his hands on the technical stuff. Brilliant.
Well, yeah, so they leave me to play with leaving me to play with the gadgets and gizmos, and they'd get on and sort of costumes and do more important stuff, basically. And then my next important job was always sorting the lighting, making sure that the lighting on the stage or at the front of the hall was great, where the rest of it was darker so they could see clearly. Yeah, I mean, you know what I did at uni, don't you? I do.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's haunting me even in my performance. Like I've got this job. I'm now an actor. I'm fully fledged out there performing, and I'm still doing techie work. It's mental.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you just naturally fall into it. I think people look at you and go, "Lovely, great, be great in this part. Lovely actor, yeah, it's going to be superb. Looks like you could handle a plug as well."
Looks like he can handle a plug.
Well, I'm simplifying it. You know, obviously, there are other details and other skills that you have, but you know.
Well, that's going on my CV. Handles
Looks like it can handle a plug.
But yes, so no, I am done. Had a wonderful tour, really quite enjoyable, and I have to say, I'd missed touring. I really had missed touring as much as I'd much rather be at home and not on the road all the time. The fresh venues, the new audiences each time, just it's something that I think perhaps I've taken for granted at times. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we do take that sort of if you're lucky enough to be working, you do kind of take it for granted, because I've often said the hard part of our job is being out of work, because we're looking for work, and that's when that all the grind and the admin, and I'm sure we've said this in the past, the grind I've been sending, writing off for work, emailing off for stuff, keeping an eye on all the different casting platforms. But when you're working, you go away, you meet new people, you get great places to go, and you're working, you're getting paid. It's like all the bonuses, but saying that, it is the going away from home thing, isn't it? Because I've not been away. Even this year doing pantomime, I was at home. I was able to, do a short journey. So you were away, but this is the first time I've been away in all those 2 years of the dreaded word. So it's quite, it's been quite I haven't got homesick or anything like that, but it's quite a wrench. And I know I'm away for, 6.5 weeks. So it's quite a period to get your head round having to be away for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's obviously a difference in that where my tour was different venue each day, lots of on the road, albeit one particular base staying in the same city. I was in a different venue each day, whereas yours, again, you're away from home, again in one base, but your performance venue is the same each time.
It's the same,
So a slightly different entity in that respect. Whereas we've both done numerous tours where you might do 2 or 3 performances or days in one venue, and then all of a sudden you're off to the other side of the country. I mean, I remember my first professional tour, or my first professional sort of substantial tour, was it wasn't an ABBA tribute, but it was a show. You know where this is going. It was an ABBA based two-handed musical going around sort of community venues, and I think I was obviously very bored one night, and I worked it out, and I think over 13 weeks the tour ran, we did something like, I can't remember what it was, 40 cities, and something like traveled somewhere in the region of 22,000 miles or something over that time, or something ridiculous like that. Really, really crazy distances. And even like certain days, like we'd be staying in Wales and we'd do a show in West Wales, and then in the afternoon we'd go and do one in Bristol, and then we'd come back to like South Wales, because it was just such a busy tour. I mean, we were doing 3 shows a day, 6 days a week. And normally the 7th day was traveling to doing the big distance. So if we were in Newcastle, for example, which one of my favorite places I've ever performed, just such a lovely city, maybe next day we'd be in Leeds. So we'd have to do that fairly substantial drive, because what's that, a couple of hours, which you can't do in between shows necessarily, unless you absolutely have to.
You've got to have a day. I mean, it's interesting because you say you travelled all those distances and those odd. We have no control over that. No. You know what I mean? Someone has worked out the tour schedule, and often they haven't taken a look at a road atlas at all, and they've gone, oh yeah. I mean, I remember one time doing Durham to Plymouth to somewhere in East Anglia, Kings Lynn or somewhere like that. So we did this bizarre triangle, and that was our last 3 venues, and we did those inside 4 days or something. So we were literally doing ridiculously long drives.
That's insane.
And we were doing The Country Wife. So it's a Jacobean comedy or restoration, I should say. And, there was lots to do when we got there. We weren't necessarily responsible for putting the setup, but there were a lot of props, there were a lot of costumes, and there was a lot of wigs and things like that we were all responsible for. So, you were traveling, and then doing getting there, prepping, doing the show, coming, leaving, doing the get out, and then, at some unearthly hour trying to find the digs that you've been given, which you had no control over either.
No.
So it was
No, I mean, smaller scale stuff and very much sort of, I don't want to say family owned, but those companies that have built up from nothing and have no sort of name behind them, or are not sort of a multifaceted company. Those little ones, they're great because they're real kind of gritty, and you really like depend on you being able to perform and give your all. But as you say, the organization isn't always.
Yes.
I mean, let's say logistics aren't always the highest priority.
It's very often just get the gig. It doesn't matter where it is. Yeah, logistically, they can just drive it.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean you can't do Devon to Norwich in a day? What's wrong with you? Just go do it. Yeah. We've booked you digs. Oh, excellent. Yes, they're in Sunderland. Right, where's our first show? Oh, it's in Croydon.
I have done that where your digs, you finish the show and then it's like, where are the digs? Where are we staying tonight? And if it isn't somewhere recognizable, you very often I've got there and knocked on the door and they open the door and go, we expected you hours ago. And it's like, yeah, sorry, we've had an hour and a half drive from the theatre. It's like, what are we going to do?
You're probably talking about back when there weren't mobile phones, so you couldn't pre-warn them, and your pigeon didn't get there before you. So,
well, some of my touring was pre-mobile. I have to say, it was pre-mobile. Not that but
Do you want me to make you feel really bad?
Don't.
I reckon that some of your touring was pre-me.
Moving on. Well, I have to say, quite possibly, because I left drama school in March 1982. So this year, this month, is my 40th year, or 40 years. Yeah, there you go, people. Mate. 40 years in the business.
I will send you a card saying you are old.
Just send me a drink. Just send me a drink.
Yeah, well, I think we've had plenty of those over the past.
Yeah, well, there we are. Here's to me. But yeah, I mean,
40 years. Cheers.
40 years. There we go. But it's interesting when you talk about digs, because I'm in lovely digs, but and I'm here for 6 or so weeks. It's a bit of a shot in the dark, isn't it? Because you don't know. I mean, I spoke to my landlady. She's delightful, and I had no doubt when I got here it was going to be comfortable. It's comfortable. It's lovely, but it becomes your home from home for X number of weeks. And if you're unhappy, and I know actors who have been, and I've been to some dodgy ones, but it is you put your stuff in a suitcase. You arrive on a Sunday evening or whatever, or early Monday morning to start work, and you think, I hope it's going to be okay, because if it isn't, you're either stuck with it or you got to start the search again.
It's an extra stress, isn't it? I mean, you're already away from home. You're already doing a job which, as much as we adore it, is very demanding and exhausting, and it uses up energy both physically and mentally. So then to have that extra stress and that extra thing to think about, it can be quite. I mean, I stayed in a travel lodge when I did Panto, simply because it was just dependable and I knew what I was getting.
There's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. And it was convenient, it was close, and various other things. But yeah, it can be a gamble. And I mean, the lady I've been staying with is also lovely. And I mean, I'll be saying goodbye to her shortly because our tour is now done. So I'm going to head back. I just thought I'd have my final conversation in front of the wardrobe with you.
Big farewell to Narnia.
Yeah. I'm going to go into the closet. I'm going home. That's what's going to happen. Anyway. Again, another moving swiftly on. We've been all over the place today. I'll tell you what I was thinking, actually. And we said at at the end of last season / the beginning of this season that we were going to try and bring some more on the scenes / sort of in the crux of what we're doing footage, albeit audio or video, wherever people are tuning into us. And I have to say, Drew, we've got quite far through this season and we haven't really done any. I mean, we started in my flat.
Yes.
On
the road.
But yeah, and we're both on the road now, albeit I'm finishing. Oh, hang on. You've got a very smug look on your face.
Yeah. Because I mean, I know I'm here for several weeks, so I'm going to have chance to chat to cast members and sort of do a gentle introduction. I'm going to slip this in a manner of speaking, sort of, week by week if I can. Yeah. But I've done a little. I did a little introductory video outside the theatre, and then a little trip inside the theatre in which we'll be working, which we'll be performing Fighting Irish.
Fantastic.
So
so does that mean we can go not live, but we can go sort of retrospectively to past Drew, who is taking us around his new area?
Yeah. This is me landing a few days ago.
Wow. Well, without further ado, let's go and speak to Drew a couple of days ago.
Here we go. Well, lovely listeners, viewers, it's Drew here. I'm up in Coventry and I'm standing outside the beautiful Belgrave Theatre, where for 6 weeks I'm working on Fighting Irish. And I'm trying to get you, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see I'm floating this around to try and get you a little picture of that, but that's not working too well. There's a poster behind me of the show. Fighting Irish, based on the McGough family, well-known Coventry family of successful boxers. So this is part of the Coventry Year of Culture. It's a play, as I say, based in Coventry, about Coventry people, for Coventry people. We've got a quite intense rehearsal period because not only are we all, or most of us, learning different accents, in my case a Dublin accent, we are also learning, or some of the boys, the younger boys, are learning how to box. I am playing Billy Duffin, who is their coach, so I am also outside the boxing ring learning a lot of the techniques that we will be using during the show. It's a very exciting new play written by Jamie McGough, who is the nephew and son of the McGough brothers, the famous McGough brothers. If you were a boxing fan in the late 70s, around about 78, 79, 80, you would have seen Martin McGough, who was a very successful pro boxer and had the reputation of being one of the hardest hitters in the professional boxing circuit. I play Billy Duffin, his trainer and trainer of Jarlath McGough. The story is a mixture of a search for identity, a search for success in the boxing world, but is based very tightly around a very close-knit family and a very close-knit Irish community. And this has ramifications today, reflections today, because there is a huge and very tight-knit Irish community in Coventry. And I am assured by the writer Jamie McGough that a lot of those people are booked in for our first night, which is at the end of this month. So, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, listeners, enjoy our podcast this week, and I shall try and grab you a little bit more footage that we can show you what exactly I'm doing in the lovely Belgrave Theatre. So, take care, and ding ding, and round two. So, lovely viewers and listeners, you are now, or I have brought you now to B2, which is the Belgrade Theatre's smaller venue. We have a main house, and this is B2, Belgrade 2. And as you can see, if you are on YouTube, if I sweep the camera around, you can see that it is on 3 levels. So there is stalls, circle, and then a higher balcony. We will be playing Fighting Irish in the round.
which means there will be audience on all four sides of the boxing ring. The play will be set, naturally as a play about boxing, in a boxing ring, which will be set down in the floor of the theatre, behind me, so over my shoulders. If you're on YouTube, you can see me wobbling backwards and forwards. If not, the stage will be set down and all the action will take place, or most of the action will take place in the boxing ring and the surrounding areas. So there we can see, you can hear my voice echoing. It is a beautiful big space. It's slightly badly lit because it's a quiet time in the theatre at the moment, so there's just the house lights on and working lights for anyone that's working in here. And this afternoon, there will be myself and other actors in here working on our accents with the dialect coach. So I'll let you know how that goes. Take care. Ding ding, round 3.
Well, look at little excited you.
Hey?
Do you know what, mate? Joking aside, I know how thrilled you are to be doing this tour, and the way you talk about the show, you're clearly passionate about it. So it must be, it really does show that this is something that you want to be doing and that you're very excited for this project. And
yeah, I mean, it's a new play. It's a new venue for me. So I'm ticking those off as throughout the process.
And it's exciting that I and obviously all the Drewling Samantics listeners and viewers will be on this journey with you to an extent. Looking forward to hearing more about how things progress with regards to sort of the show itself, but also to the setup and the venue and how it's adapted and how things change as you go along. So yeah, really exciting stuff. And so does that mean then that you're going to bring us more rounds as we go along? Are we expecting round 3, 4, 5 and as many as you can last for?
You picked up on that nicely, Mr. Yes, I will be ringing the bell on more rounds in the future. And as you say, as things change, as the venue changes, as we get further down the line, and I'll get I'll chat to some of the cast members as well, and as we relax into things. So yes, at the moment we're quite hectic, but we'll chill out as we go into, further into our 3rd week and onwards. So yeah, there will be more. I will be ringing the bell.
Now, you see, you talked about speaking to the cast. You may have slightly stolen my thunder, mate, because my whole build-up just now going, oh, well, we haven't been out and about and haven't... And then you jumped in with a, well, it's all right, because I've been doing video. Well, you're not the only one. Because before my tour finished and before we did our final performances, I managed to grab a few minutes in between a couple of shows that we were performing to speak to some of my fellow cast members. And I managed to get a little bit out of them, not necessarily about the show specifically, but more about being back on tour. Because again, they, like us, are performers who haven't had the opportunity to tour or to work as much as they would have liked over the past couple of years. So it's great to be back out and about. So I don't know, do you fancy hearing what they had to say?
Oh, mate, I give you back your thunder.
Well, it is my thunder. I roll it out in the form of Callan, Lily and Joe, my fellow performers. And here's what they had to say when I sat down to have a quick chat with them.
Brilliant.
Okay, Joe, thanks very much for joining me and welcome to Drewling Samantics, albeit Drewling Samantics out on the road. First of all, quick introduction who you are to all our listeners and viewers, please.
Okay, well, I am an actor and I write as well and direct, but I've done less of that, mainly acting and directing.
Okay, fantastic. And you're obviously currently on tour with Reflex Theatre with myself, Callan and Lily. How are you finding the tour? Are you enjoying it?
Really enjoyable, yeah. It's been amazing. It's been high energy, and we've had really great responses from the audience. So yeah, it's been amazing so far.
Have you done much touring before?
I have done, I believe, one other show touring, and it was more stressful. So this has been much easier to move everything around, smaller total area covered, and easier to just get about, and smaller cast.
And what for you is it about touring that's particularly enjoyable as opposed to maybe sort of a residential show?
So I find that you do get a greater variation in audiences when you do touring.
Right.
This project is a little bit different, although it does still apply, going like having like different kinds of schools and everything, and different reactions you get from different schools. But I tend to find that when you go around different areas, there's greater variation in the kind of audience reaction, so you really get to reinvent the show a lot more frequently.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for talking to us, Joe, and enjoy the rest of the tour.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Lily, thanks ever so much for talking to me. Are you enjoying your tour at the moment?
Yeah, I'm loving the tour. It's really fantastic. Callum's a great director. I've got a great cast as well, and I think it's a really meaningful project, which for me also makes it just impactful, knowing that kind of we're getting this message out and it could influence at least even just one person. That's really exciting.
Amazing. So you're an actor primarily, but also you've done some facilitation work before. And has that always been touring work as well, or have you done sort of residential stuff with that?
No, so I've worked for a couple of different companies, but it's always been dotted around. I did the big Norfolk Fun Week, I think it was called, with Reflex. I've done some TIE stuff like Shakespeare work with a company called Drama Impact. That's always been moving around a day here or a day there. But this is the longest TIE tour that I've done. Yeah.
And how do you find touring compares with doing a show that's sort of in one place for a long period of time?
Do you know what, I was thinking about this morning actually, because I really love kind of the challenge of going into a new space, figuring out, okay, have you got entrances and exits that are different, what's the space going to be like? So yeah, I really like that, and also I think it helps keep the performances fresh, because you're not used to specific marks of I need to walk over here, I need to walk over there, which, I mean, Callum doesn't like anyway, it's always new and fresh. But yeah, I find that really helps. Also in terms of kind of easing your mind and getting used to quickly relaxing when you get on stage as a character, and just being comfortable in new environments. So I really like it.
Great. Final question. How does this compare to other tours? Is this the best you've been on, or have there been others, or what makes this particularly special?
Well, so I recently did a pantomime tour, and that was really fun because I got to be kind of a really silly comedy character, and that was quite fun in itself. And we got to stay in a really nice Airbnb, so that was definitely a win. That's always good. But no, I do really enjoy this tour, again because of, I think, the importance of the message. And then we get to work with the kids as well, so not only do we perform, but we then get to do question and answer session, and they get to do the hot seating as well, which is really fun because you never know what someone's going to ask you, and I've not had that in a tour before, so that's definitely an extra bonus as well.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much for talking to me, and good luck with the rest of the tour.
Thank you very much. No worries.
Okay, so I'm now joined by what may be a familiar face to some of our YouTube viewers, but certainly a familiar voice to anyone that's been with Drewling Samantics for a little while. Mr. Callum Durrant is back on Drewling Samantics. Welcome back, sir.
Hello, Mr. Samuel Dunning.
It's lovely to see you, mate. Well, I say that. I've been on tour with you for a while, so... Anyway, thank you so much for agreeing to have a quick chat. We are obviously very much in the middle of touring. How is it going for you?
I'm quite happy with it. I'm really proud, not only with yourself, but I obviously have been paid to say that, checks in the post. But yeah, no, it's going really nice. The lovely school environments that we're going to. We have been to some really lovely schools so far, and next week there'll be some more of that. And it's really nice to see the kids get involved with not only the content but the discussions that we're having with them, and like just kind of throwing themselves into just interacting with us, not only as facilitators but as actors as well.
Yeah. So you're obviously taking on multiple roles in this, in that you are performing in the show, but you also are directing the show. You run Reflex Theatre Company, as our listeners and viewers will be aware from your
T-Boy as well, yeah.
Yeah, T-Boy, first round in the pub, etc., etc. But also, you've had to do things like, so your lovely partner, Meg, she wrote the show,
yeah.
but you then sort of go over that and you finalise, you do a bit of editing, a bit of script adaptation and stuff. So
I think any script kind of evolves anyway, so even though there'll be like set roles of like director, writer, actor, I don't think there's necessarily, or there shouldn't be any kind of like set, like I am only doing this.
Yeah.
There has to be a kind of coordinated effort from everybody kind of doing everything and pitching in everything, because everyone's got different ideas. But yeah, that kind of work ethic of having to do quite a lot kind of is infused into what we do. So everyone kind of pitches in. And it's really lovely to see when there's that forward focus. Yeah, it's just been a really lovely 2 weeks.
Amazing.
4 weeks, I have to say.
Well, yeah.
Included, yeah.
I mean, if we're being accurate, it's technically been 2 years.
Yes, obviously with the first Arts Council England funding that we got to be able to develop this, and then it's just been a 2-year journey where things have just matured, and it's going to keep maturing as we hopefully continue touring this as an annual thing for older year 9s as they keep coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. So has it met expectations in the fact that we obviously a year ago put this show out online to create material for schools to send out to them remotely, because at the time we were very much constrained by the unwelcome guest.
Yeah.
Has it met all expectations? Is this what you sort of envisaged when you were going from just being online to now being actually out there on the road?
I think it's exceeded it, because obviously as a TIE piece it is functional, and that is the expectation there. But I think what we've actually created is something that is beyond a TIE experience, not only with it being interactive and make your own choice kind of thing, but also just the level and the quality of performance. I think really elevates that. So it's not just we're just going through the motions. The way we've kind of directed it and set it out is very organic and very real. And I think as us as a new theatre company, we want to make sure that is kind of like the motto that kind of stays throughout our work, no matter if we're going into schools or going to the national.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally then, what is the one thing about touring for you that makes it just the best kind of theatre, or what do you enjoy most about it?
The ridiculous car journeys where you just sit and you talk about like we had a conversation about I've seen a hare for the first time, and like nearly almost crashing because you're dying of laughter. It's I need to tell you about that later.
Yeah, I wasn't involved in that one. It sounds intriguing.
No,
I'm assuming you mean a large rabbit.
Shut up, Lily. But yeah, no, it is really just nice to just be on the road with people who not only you work with really well, but you just kind of start to grow to kind of know and care about. That's cracking.
Amazing. Thank you ever so much for talking to me. Good luck with the rest of the tour, and I'm sure we'll see you again sometime in the future on Drewling Samantics.
Let's go on stage now!
Well, Mr. Dunning, thunder has roared. That was great. No, let's get off that analogy now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great to see Callan again. The Callan Durant we had, if you didn't meet him, why not? Please go back and listen to his episode. He's a fabulous and interesting guy, but great to see, because he was talking when we had him on Drewling Samantics about the show, and you were about to tour. So it's great to see it actually come to fruition, and what he has to say about that journey.
Well, absolutely. It's been a long time. Like I mentioned, it's almost 2 years in the making, I think, from when it was originally written, and then we did the initial sort of online stuff because we couldn't take it out on the road, and we finally hit that point. And it's such a big thing for him and for his company, but also such an important subject matter. But more importantly, well, not more importantly, but more poignantly, maybe for myself and the other performers, we're back on the road and doing something and bringing entertainment and in this case education to new audiences, which is really valuable.
It's interesting because there are so many new things. I mean, you know, Lily and Joe, I have to say they look remarkably fresh and unjaded after, you know, slogging around. I mean, I know I've done TIE tours, and I know that the as you say, you know, the number of shows you're doing, they're moving about, and the not, I mean, the dedication is the wrong word, but it's a lot of effort. And children's performances are demanding. Children's audiences are demanding. So it's evidently and obviously a great show to have done. And it's interesting to hear how they've, how much they've got out of new venues, new audiences, and new audiences in so much for some of those children. You could very well have been taking them the first piece of theatre they've seen, which, despite the subject matter, the actual fact that they're getting theatre touring to them is so important. And hopefully you've captured future audience members. So it's so important.
Hopefully there's been some inspiration from that, or I mean we've talked about it before, and in fact I think when we had Callan on back in was it season 2 he was in, season 3? I can't remember. I think it must have been last season.
2. I think Anyway.
Yeah. But we spoke and talked about how it's all very well trying to teach someone something, or teach a young adult or a child something, but there's only so much reading from a book or repetition or listening to someone speak they can do. When you bring something and you make it physical and you make it visible and you make it memorable, it's just such an incredible tool. And
one of the rewards. One of the rewards of touring, isn't it? That you do. I mean, particularly in this situation, is you get to take theatre to new audiences. I mean, I've done rural touring where I've taken a play to very small towns or even villages in some instances when I was touring in the Lake District, and audiences are coming in. They're touring to you as well, because I've gone to a venue, and then it's been a little hub that audiences have come into, and it's so important because sometimes they say, we haven't seen theatre or we don't get theatre. So you guys coming in a van and putting a set up and doing a show, they wouldn't get to see theatre, or it would be far more difficult than, the odd 10-mile trip to a little venue, whereas they would have to try, 30, 40, 50 miles to get to a major city. So the joy of theatre, of touring in that respect is, so rewarding.
It's just, it's nice to see and feel like you're making a difference, even if it's a very small one, even if it's very subtle, but just one small memory or one small smile that you create, it makes it all worth it, really. It makes it worth all the driving and the early starts and the being away from home and the unpredictability, and there are just quite a few positives that will almost always outweigh the negative. So an enjoyable tour for me, very much.
Good.
I don't know whether I will be back on that one. Certainly Callan and the team Reflex Theatre have plans to take it out again next year. Whether I'll be involved, I don't know yet. I'd obviously be honoured to be asked back. But it depends what else is going on and various other things and the areas. And they may well have multiple teams doing it in different areas across the country. I think that's their end goal, of course, to sort of go national and take it wherever they can. But a brilliant tour, very much enjoyed. So
good stuff.
I guess we're down to what have you got coming up? I mean, again, I know obviously you're still doing the show, but what does this week ahead hold for you?
I think this week we're moving into actually, because it's a very physical piece, because it's about boxing, and we've got there's four younger guys on stage boxing, myself involved in that as well. So, and the writer Jamie is.
You might be involved, but you're certainly not being described as one of the four younger guys.
I didn't put myself in the four young guys and me, but I'm the trainer, so I've got the choreography is of the fights I'm involved in as well, because there's dialogue within that, and we're lucky that Jamie McGough, the writer, is an ex-boxer and a very good one. So he is able to coach the boys. And then I think there's a trip to, I don't know whether it's sometime this week or maybe next week, but a trip to a gym, to a proper boxing gym, where we will those of us involved in the fighting or in the reconstructions will learn and see some of the grit. The boys have been invited to train. If they want to, and I think I'll step to one side then and put my trainer's cap on. I may drape a towel over my shoulder, hold a water bottle, yell encouragement.
Yeah, you're probably good at those.
Oh yeah. Oh mate. Oh definitely. Yeah. But I think it's going to be great to get the flavour of it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to each week as a progression. And we've got. It's interesting because we've got a long rehearsal period, or would seemingly a long rehearsal period, but all the different elements and the way that the theatre have approached producing the work, it justifies those extra. People go, how long? We're in a different space. They are rebuilding and rejigging the theatre in a way that they've never done before, and because the theatre is coming out of a period of lockdown, they've gone, let's do it. Let's really, and it's their year of culture as well, the Coventry's year of culture. So there are lots of elements that make it very important that this work, that this play gets, as much work on it as possible. So yeah, we're all very, very honoured to be trusted with a new piece of work. It's a very, 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 precious thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wish you luck for your week ahead, and I'm sure you'll very much enjoy it.
Thank you, mate. So and now you get to pack the suitcase and go back to a little bit of normality for a wee while.
Well, you say that, but it's just on to the next thing, really, isn't it? So I don't know if I've mentioned, probably lots of times, but finally, book number 2. My second novel that I have voiced, second audio book, The Wasteland Road Nights, Volume 2, which I think is called Exploration. That's awful that I can't remember. I'm sure the second one's called Exploration. Either way, that is now live on Amazon. On what's it called? Not Amazon. Well, it is Amazon. What's their platform called?
Audible.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. It threw me for a minute then. I'm really good at selling myself here, aren't I?
Brilliant, you're a genius
selling
at it,
something
mate.
that I feature in. But yes, so that is now live on Audible. So if anyone out there would like to listen to even more of my dulcet tones, I'm sure you wouldn't, but if you're still here, then maybe you don't mind. But yes, so please do go and purchase that. It is online, available on Audible. Just search for The Wasteland Road Nights. If you haven't got the first one as well, get that one at the same time. Much appreciated. Exactly. Thanks. So that's now live, which means that I can now fully go ahead and jump into book number 3. So straight on with that. I've got a little bit of immersive dinner theatre coming up as well.
Cool.
So it's kind of back to some of the more regular stuff, if you can call it regular, but certainly no rest for the wicked, as they say, but I would not have it any other way.
Good.
And then,
I know.
Mate, another wonderful guest next week. They just keep coming.
Keep coming. I know. It's good. It's great. Well,
many exciting things ahead, and not withstanding speaking to your lovely self as well. So
you had to say that, but no, it's always a pleasure, never a trial, and it's great as well that we've been able to do this while we're in ridiculously different locations.
Well, exactly. So I will make my way back to the familiarity of my studio, and you and your corridor will be joining us next week with our special guest. So,
brilliant.
So to that, sir, I raise my bottle.
Ditto.
Cheers to everyone at home or wherever you happen to be listening on the road or wherever. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll bring you another special guest.
It's been a pleasure, Sam. Take care, everyone.
And you, mate. Cheers. See you soon, everyone.
Bye now. Cheers.
Thanks again for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
If you have, then please consider subscribing to our channel and you'll get notified every time a new video is released. Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app.
Please support us on other social media too. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and all our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so please share with your family and friends, and we'll be eternally grateful. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.